Hey friends, back with another gameplay. Today I will be piloting the pair of Thrasios and Ravos. This is a value style deck with a bit of a reanimator type sub-theme. You can play with either one of these commanders, but in Duel Commander you're really only supposed to use one. Once you play one of them, that's kind of like the commander you get to use for the remainder of that game. So we'll see how this game plays out. Our opponent is going to be Atraxa Grand Unifier, also a value deck, but this one aims to control the board until they can get one enter the battlefield trigger off of Atraxa, and then they try to overwhelm you as she gets usually a bunch of value off of her enter the battlefield effect. We have won the coin toss, so we're going to elect to be on the play. And I don't love this starting hand, but it is good enough to keep, so we're going to go ahead and keep. And we're going to open with an Arid Mesa, and we'll pass over to our opponent. They're going to play an Underground Sea, and then they'll play Tamiyo Inquisitive Student, a 0/3 flyer that creates clue tokens. And we'll activate our Arid Mesa, sacking it, losing a life, and fetching a Meticulous Archive, allowing us to surveil 1. Top card is going to be Spell Seeker, so we'll go ahead and leave that on the top of our library. Draw said Spell Seeker, and then I think we go ahead and play a Breeding Pool tapped and pass over to our opponent. Tamiyo is going to go ahead and attack us and create that clue token, and then we'll play Enlightened Tutor at the end of turn. That's going to get countered by Evasive Action. And then we draw into an Opposition Agent. So we're going to go ahead and play Starting Town into our Spell Seeker. When it enters, we'll search for an instant or sorcery, value 2 or less. And I think we're just going to get Demonic Tutor and put that into our hand. And we'll go ahead and pass over to our opponent. Again, Tamiyo to attack, making another clue, and then passing back to us. We draw into an Unearth. I think we go ahead and play the Demonic Tutor. We pay 1 life using the Starting Town to play it, and that's going to get countered by Spell Snare. And then for land for turn, I think we just play the Seachrome Coast. We'll go ahead and swing as we don't have much else to do and pass back to our opponent. They're going to force us to sacrifice the Spell Seeker and exile our graveyard. Unfortunate. And then Tamiyo to attack us again. Our opponent at 4 lands. Our opponent playing their 4th land in a Cactus Preserve. We draw into Tamiyo Safekeeping. We're going to go ahead and play Boseiju Who Endures, and with our opponent tapped out, I think it's the right time to bring out Ravos. We wouldn't have protection for it, but we're kind of behind in this game, and I don't think the opposition agent is going to do the trick for us. So yeah, let's play Ravos. And then we'll pass back to our opponent. They're going to go ahead and activate the Cactus Preserve, turning it into a 7/7. Oh wow, that's rough. Swing for 7, and we're going to go down to 10. And then Undercity Sewers as their land for turn. And they'll pass back to us drawing into Avacyn's Pilgrim. And I think we leave up Tamiyo Safekeeping and try to play the Agent and Avacyn's Pilgrim. So, Pilgrim for 1. I do wish we could leave this up to remove the Tamiyo in case they flip her. There she is flipped, so she'll be able to get instants and sorceries back from the graveyard to hand. I don't like that, but I don't really want to leave so much mana on the table, so I think we go ahead and play the opposition agent. And then we can go ahead and swing for 2. Tamio to block us. Derp. Forgot about that. I forgot she had flying. Okay. Pass to our opponent. And again, they'll activate the Cactus Preserve. Tamio attacking. And we will throw Avacyn's Pilgrim in front of the Preserve. We'll just be able to get it back with Ravos, assuming they don't have anything special. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get the Pilgrim back. We'll play the Pilgrim for turn, or play the Pilgrim. We'll play this Shuko, which can pump one of our creatures. And I think we go ahead and swing with the opposition agent. Put Shuko on Ravos so he can eat Tamio, and then pass to our opponent. Preserve to be activated again, attacking us. We'll block with the Pilgrim, and then it'll be our turn again. Get the Pilgrim back, and now we've got the Pilgrim to play. That is going to get put back on top of our library by Subtlety. And then we'll go ahead and play the bird. Swing again for 4 with our opposition agent. And then Cactus Preserve to be activated. We'll block with the bird. It'll get eaten. And then our opponent's pass to us. We'll go ahead and use Ravos to get the bird back. We draw into the Pilgrim again. Play said bird. Play said Pilgrim. And then we can go ahead and attack. We'll attack with just the agent, bringing our opponent down to 7. And then Dream Halls from our opponent. It's an enchantment for 5 that reads, instead of paying the casting cost for a spell of any color, its caster may choose and discard a card that shares at least one color with that spell. If the spell has X in its casting cost, X is 0. Oh, interesting. Okay, so tempo versus card advantage card. And then they'll go ahead and play Atraxa. That's unfortunate. We were 1 turn away from being able to swing in for lethal. And they'll go from 2 cards up to, well, the cards that they reveal are Hallowed Fountain, Command Tower, Bloodstained Mire, Leyline Binding, Otawara Soaring City, Brainstorm, Snapcaster Mage, Tropical Island, Mental Misstep, Orcish Bowmaster. So they'll go from 2 cards up to 3, well, up to 4, and then play Leyline Binding. It's going to exile probably the agent. So we'll see what it targets. Oh, it's going to exile Ravos, so we'll go ahead and give Ravos Hexproof. Gain a couple life. They'll activate the Bloodstained Mire, and then the Leyline Binding will fizzle. Our opponent to pass back to us, and we draw into a Fauna Shaman. We'll go ahead and play the Shaman, and Snapcaster Mage will be played by our opponent. And they'll get back Spell Snare and counter the Shaman. I think that's going to be probably a good game here, as our opponent's going to start running away with health as we don't have any good removal. But we will go ahead and pass back to our opponent. Well, they don't attack with Atraxa. Interesting. Then they'll look at the top X cards of the library, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast this spell. Put 2 of them into hand and the rest on the bottom of the library in a random order. Looks like they played it for 4. So they'll get a couple extra cards. And I'll get back the Shaman, and I'll draw into a Deathrite Shaman. Interesting. And I think we'll just try to stall out our opponent and use Deathrite Shaman to make them lose life. We'll see how this goes. So we'll pay 2 for the Fauna Shaman. If I draw into other stuff, I can get rid of it. If I draw into other stuff, I can get rid of it. And that'll be countered. Then we'll try and play Deathrite Shaman. and it'll go through. And then we'll pass to our opponent. Teferi, oh, this is trouble. Hero of Dominaria from our opponent. Just the fact that they're getting a Planeswalker out is bad news for us. They'll go ahead and return Ravos to our hand. We'll let that happen. Oh, put it on top of our library. Third from the top. Memory Deluge to be played by its flashback cost, so they'll get a couple more cards. We'll draw into a Leafkin Druid. We'll go ahead and try and bring back the Fauna Shaman for a single black. And then I think we hang on to this Leafkin Druid to hopefully activate our Shaman next turn. But with that, we'll go ahead and pass to our opponent. Actually, no, let's go ahead and equip our Birds of Paradise with the Shuko. Then we'll pass to our opponent. And they're going to open with Orcish Bowmasters. We're about to start losing. There goes our birds. Cactus Preserve to be activated. And then they're going to swing with Tamiyo as well as Atraxa and the Preserve. Clues to be made. We don't have a flyer to block Atraxa, unfortunately. So we'll just throw Avacyn's Pilgrim in front of the Cactus Preserve and take the rest. Us down to 2 and our opponent up to 13. And then we'll go ahead and draw into a Hushwood Verge. Shoot. I just realized Ravos is the next card. I think we've lost this game anyway, so we didn't get into a flyer. There's not much else we can do. I guess we have to activate the Shaman and see if we can't get into a flyer that can at least block Atraxa and perhaps impact this game. Yeah, our only option actually is Ravos, so we'll go ahead and get him to hand. We'll attempt to cast him. And he does stick, but we are likely dead in the water. We'll go ahead and pass back to our opponent. They'll activate the Cactus Preserve again. And then they'll go ahead and Alpha Strike at us. We have to block Atraxa with Ravos. And then Snapcaster Mage will block with Deathrite Shaman. Bowcaster will block with Opposition Agent. And then unfortunately, this Orc is going to get through. Alright, game 1 goes to our opponent. Since we lost last game, we'll get to be on the play for game 2. Probably kept a hand with too many lands last time, but I really don't like mulliganing. Probably something I need to get better at. Because here we are again with another hand that doesn't have a lot of options. We will get to play this Giver of Ruins off the rip, so I do like that. Into an Urza Saga, which will get us another body. So I'm going to keep, and we'll see if we can't win game 2. And we'll open with the Wooded Foothills, sacrifice it. We'll go ahead and get Savannah, and then we'll use Savannah to play the Giver of Ruins and pass to our opponent. They play Mystic Sanctuary for turn, and then we'll go ahead and play Urza Saga. We don't have anything to do for 2 mana. Actually, we could get out Thrasios as they're tapped out, and then hopefully get some value out of him. I think I like that play. Let's go ahead and play Thrasios. We've got the Giver of Runes for protection, and we'll go ahead and pass to our opponent. Arcane Signet after they play a Glacial Fortress. We draw into a Deathrite Shaman. So I think we play Urza Saga as well as the Shaman. We can go ahead and attack with Thrasios. And we'll pass to our opponent who plays a Scrubland into a Nyxborn Hydra for 3. So they've got a 3/4 body on the battlefield. Urza Saga is going to move to Chapter 2. Now we've got Tamiyo Safekeeping in hand. I think we go ahead and play Windswept Heath, getting us access to something with green. I think our best choice is going to be Bayou, and then we can leave that green up. We'll go ahead and activate. Well, let's leave our mana untapped, and I think we just pass to our opponent, and likely use Giver of Ruins to give protection to the Shaman to block. Well, there we go. I want to keep the Shaman, so we'll go ahead and give the Shaman protection from white. Hydra's going to come in for 3, that's okay. We'll go ahead and eat that. We'll go down to 15, and then we'll go ahead and activate Urza's Saga at the end of turn. Get us a Construct token, and then untap Urza's Saga, moving to the final chapter, and we'll use the 3rd chapter to get Skull Clamp onto the battlefield. We draw into Eladamri's Call. I think we play the call. That's going to go ahead and be countered unless we can pay 3. We don't have access to 3, so Eladamri's Call to be countered. Let's go ahead and play the Bloodstained Mire, sacrifice it, pay 1 life, and we'll get Scrublands to the battlefield. We'll use Scrublands to equip our Construct. And then we can go ahead and attack with Thrasios as well as the Construct. I'll leave up the Shaman and Giver of Ruins. Our opponent down to 15. And then the Hydra to attack us. We'll block with the Shaman. Use the Giver to give the Shaman protection from green. And then they'll play Arid Mesa, sacking it to get a mountain or plains. They'll get Savannah, and then it will be our turn. At the end of turn, I'm going to go ahead and activate Deathrite Shaman. They don't have any creatures, so we're going to go ahead and exile a instant or sorcery from their graveyard. We'll go ahead and get rid of Swords to Plowshares, paying the 1, and then we'll go ahead and draw into Opposition Agent. I think we go to combat, and we'll swing for 4 again. No blocks from our opponent, so they'll go down to 8. And then I think we play Breeding Pool. We'll pay the 2 life. We'll go ahead and play the Opposition Agent for 3. And our opponent is going to Memory Lapse that, so it's going to get countered and put on top of our library. And then we'll pass back to our opponent. Leyline Binding. They're going to try to exile Deathrite Shaman. We'll go ahead and give it protection from white. So that will fizzle. And then the Hydra to attack us for 3. I don't want to lose the Shaman, so I think we just go ahead and take that 3. We'll go down to 8. Our opponents play Verdant Catacombs, sacrificing it for a Bayou. And then at the end of turn, we'll go ahead and exile another instant or sorcery. We'll get rid of Evasive Action from our opponent's graveyard. They'll lose a couple life. They're down to 5 now. And with that, we'll draw into our Opposition Agent. We'll play Meticulous Archive as our land for turn. Spring Heart Nantuko on top. I think we go ahead and leave that. And then we'll go ahead and go to combat and attack our opponent for 4. They'll go down to 1, and then I think we activate the Shaman, getting rid of Memory Lapse from our opponent's library, and that should knock them out of the game. We're going to go ahead and keep this hand. I just realized last game we didn't even actually activate Thrasios once. So not a lot of value to be gained, I guess, in that game. But I do really like this hand, Stoneforge Mystic, as well as this Hazel Brewmaster, Tower Winder. So lots of options to play into. So we'll go ahead and keep. Our opponent is going to go first since we won the last game. And they'll open with a Willow Rush Verge. And then they'll pass back to us. We draw into a 3 visits, and I think the correct play is the Razor Verge Thicket this turn. And then we'll pass back to our opponent, who plays a Tundra and passes back to us. Likely counter spells in hand. I think we play Misty Rainforest into this Tower Winder. Actually, maybe we play it into 3 visits. Yeah, let's go play Misty Rainforest. We'll sacrifice it. Lose a life. We'll put Bayou onto the battlefield. And then for 2, we'll play the Tower Winder and see what counter spells our opponent has. And it's going to be Spell Snare. So that'll get countered. And then we'll pass back to our opponent. Scalding Tarn for their land into a Watery Grave. And then they'll pass back to us. We draw into a Verdant Catacombs. And I think we try for 3 visits into the Stoneforge Mystic, but we'll see what our opponent has. We'll go ahead and play the Wooded Foothills, sacrificing it, losing a life, and we'll get Savannah as our land for turn. We'll try for this 3 visits, and it looks like it's going to go through. So I think we get the Overgrown Tomb and pay the 2 life, and then we'll try for this Stoneforge Mystic and see if our opponent has another counterspell. Not quite a counterspell, but this is going to put it on top of our library, and we're tapped out, so we'll pass back to our opponent. Prismatic Vista as land for turn from our opponent. They'll get a basic Plains, and then we'll see Teferi Time Raveler hit the battlefield, and they'll be activating the +1, so they can cast sorceries at instant speed. Then it will be our go. We'll draw into our Stoneforge Mystic, and I think we try for this Hazel Brewmaster. Our opponent only has 1 mana available, so let's go ahead and play the Verdant Catacombs as land for turn. We'll sacrifice it for a life, and we'll get Scrubland, and then we'll try and play this Brewmaster, leaving up Swords to Plowshares. And we'll exile the Subtlety from our opponent's graveyard when it enters. And then we'll pass back to our opponent. Food tokens to be created. And they'll return Hazel Brewmaster back to our hand and draw a card. Shoot, I forgot about that. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna get behind here. We draw into a forest for turn.
Hey friends, I chose to just speed up this 3rd game because it is really long and drawn out. Basically, I'm playing catch up the whole time. Atraxa ends up getting cast like 5 or 6 times, which is just a ton of value, and I just can't keep up. I almost make a comeback with some Voice of Resurgence elemental tokens, but then the board gets wiped, and I'm never able to stabilize after. Here you'll get to see the final combat where I eventually get knocked out.
Atraxa to be blocked by the Tower Winder. The Hydra to be blocked by Deathrite Shaman. And then I will give the Shaman pro green. And we got knocked out. I guess the Hydra had Trample? I don't know. I'm just glad that game is over. That took forever. Atraxa to win this one as Ravos and Thrasios lose. Having my Skull Clamp removed, I think, was the reason, because I just had no capacity to get into new cards. If I would have been able to play both Thrasios and Ravos, I think it would have played out different, as I sat on a ton of mana late in the game.
If you made it this far, then you get to answer our question of the day. It being December 4th is National Cookie Day, so let me know down in the comments what your favorite cookie is. Mine is a specialty cookie that my wife makes. It's like a protein cookie, like 450 calories of peanut butter and chocolate chips, and she uses like a protein powder to make it. It's really good. YouTube thinks you'll like the video in the top right. Otherwise, you could check out one of the playlists on the bottom. If you liked the video, consider subscribing by clicking the button in the top left. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by giving this video a thumbs up or leaving a comment with your thoughts below. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.